Welcome to Chef Alli's Farm Fresh Kitchen. We are so excited that you could take time out of your day to join us here in the heart of the home. I'm Chef Alli.
And I'm Karen Hansen. I'm a registered dietitian at the Manhattan Hy-Vee, and I love that Alli and I get to work together on a really fun project.
Homemade yogurt.
Yes.
Have you ever made homemade yogurt at home?
I do.
I know you do all the time.
Yes.
I do all the time.
Yes.
And we hope that you will too, because it's really something that it's simple, it's a fun project if you want to get your kids involved,
Right.
and of course it tastes totally
Yes.
yummy.
Yes.
So here is the first step of our yogurt. And milk, of course, is going to be the foundation of our yogurt. And let's talk about the milks that we can use.
You can use any type of milk. You can actually use a plain skim milk. You can use 0.5%, 1%, 2%, or whole milk.
Right.
Any fat level of milk. Also, you can use, I tried this with the strawberry,
Flavored.
wonderful
Cool.
local dairy, use the strawberry flavored milk, terrific.
Yeah, I
So,
think that's super cool.
yeah,
But
yeah.
today, because we want to show you how to incorporate some neat flavorings at the end,
Exactly.
we're just going to use just a plain, and did you say this was a 1% milk?
This is actually
Skim milk, okay, all right.
Yep.
So Karen's going to turn on our burner here, and we're going to bring this up to temperature, probably over medium-high heat. There we go.
Now the next step here is just we're going to heat this milk slowly. And you know what? When I'm at home, sometimes I do this in the microwave.
Oh,
I put it in a glass bowl, and I just
Okay.
use that microwave. It took me about 7 to 10 minutes. It depends, but
Okay.
put it in the microwave or do it right on the stovetop. This is really fun with kids because they can see it happening.
Right.
But you just stir that milk. You bring it to 180 degrees.
Yes, and that's where a very important tool in the kitchen comes in, your instant read thermometer. We have a tendency to think
Right.
that maybe this is just for meats, but you know what? It's a great tool to use like for a casserole in the oven or
Exactly.
today as we're making our homemade yogurt. Because what we want to do is check out your instant read thermometer, because there is just a little dimple somewhere on that stem, and we need to make for sure that that dimple is covered.
Exactly.
So as we temp our yogurt, we're going for that 180 degrees. So throughout this process, you're just going to insert that so that that nipple is covered, that sensor is covered, and then you're just going to watch that. Once your thermometer stops, you take it out, you stir, you wait a little bit longer, and like Karen said, the microwave is faster, but I
Yes.
think it's fun to do it on the stovetop.
Absolutely. You can do it either way. So,
Yeah.
and once it reaches 180, the reason we want to make sure and get it to 180 is because if there were any bacteria introduced in your pan or anywhere
Right.
in your process, that's going to kill it.
It's gone.
It's going to make it very
Yes.
safe.
Okay.
Right.
So 180 degrees, and now we're ready to go to step 2. All right, we're ready for step 2 of our yogurt.
Right.
We've heated it to 140 degrees, 180
180 degrees,
Yes.
just to get it good and hot to
Right.
kill any possibility of any bacteria that might have been introduced.
Right.
Now we've cooled it
To
to 150 degrees.
150.
And
correct.
the reason we have to cool it is because we're using, I've actually selected plain Greek yogurt today with live active cultures. And read on your container and it will
make
tell
for sure
you.
that
Yes,
that's in there.
Right.
Right.
So you've got to have, this is kind of our starter, if you will.
Okay.
All right. So we have to put the live active cultured yogurt in. And typically, this is a 6-ounce container. I really only need to use maybe 1/4 of a cup, if that. About half of that in a half a gallon of milk. So basically now I'm just going to add these right to it. This is our starter, like we said, and we're just going to put that in there. And now, Alli, if you'll whisk that.
Use
in
your
there,
whisk, because that's going to really help you incorporate your cultures into your warm milk.
Right.
And also, Karen was talking about a starter. Once you've got your yogurt going, you will always have a starter that you can
Exactly.
use from. You won't have to purchase your yogurt anymore. Once you start making it at home, you can just use that.
Because
correct.
this will now contain the live active cultures.
Right.
After it's incubated, it'll be nice and rich in those, and you can use it. So basically now, Alli's whisking this in, and that's going to get that nicely blended. The next step is really a fun step too.
Yeah.
Basically, all we're going to do is, like we said, we've used our temperature. It's 150. The live active cultures are in it. Now we're simply going to take towels.
Watch her technique. I love this.
I just fold my towel in
Okay.
lengthways,
All right.
and then I kind of just poked it in the
you go.
handles, and then one right over the top. This is kind of creating a nice little warm incubator for that.
This
if
one
you
goes
will.
here. So next step, we're going to go into the oven. It's not preheated. It's
No.
going into a cold oven. There is one key component. Your oven has to have a light.
Right.
Okay, so if your oven does not have a light, Here's what you can do to incubate your yogurt. You can use a warm crock pot. That's not a low setting, that's just on the warm setting. You can put your warm milk in your pot into a cooler, close the lid down. That will keep it perfectly safe and warm till it all those things, everything happens in there as it incubates, yes. You can warm up a thermos, like if you take a nice tall thermos and pour hot boiling water in there to preheat it, then put your yogurt in there. That works too. So you have a lot of alternatives if you don't happen to have a light in your oven. We're all wrapped.
We're all
ready
wrapped up, ready to go
in
in the oven.
Into the oven. You ready?
Right.
All right. I'll open the oven door. You tuck him in.
Now that yogurt is going to sit in the oven for probably at least 8 hours.
Okay.
And a lot of times at home what I do is I'll heat my milk about 9 o'clock in the evening up to 180, let it cool to that 150, add those cultures, wrap it up, put it in my oven with the oven light on.
Okay.
All right. Then once I you know, the next morning I wake up, I come out, it's like Christmas, you know. You pull out this yogurt and you can see, and it's all solidified and nice firm yogurt at that point.
So, you come trudging out in your bathrobe.
Yes.
Take it out of the oven, and then we're going to go to the next step. All right, our yogurt is out of the incubation period, and we are ready to strain it. Actually, it's been straining, and this is a key tool.
It is.
Coffee
Very
filters
important part,
and a colander. All right, so what you're going to do for this step is you're going to put your coffee filters into your colander. You can layer them in there however you wish. If you don't want to use coffee filters, you can always use a cheesecloth. Or if you even have a strainer that's super fine mesh, you can use that as well. But what we're trying to do here is essentially what I like to say, kind of drying out our yogurt, if you will. All the whey is going to drain down into your bowl here. Now, your whey is something that you can use actually for cooking. Keep this in a glass jar that's marked whey because it looks like lemonade but absolutely does not taste like lemonade. Your husband will be very disappointed when he gets into that jar. But it's handy to keep on hand, like if you want to make biscuits, you can use this in place of your buttermilk. So it's got that really tangy, wonderful flavor. Great thing to use. So store that away. And then next step that we're going to do is we're going to remove our yogurt from the coffee filters into a bowl. Okay. And it's kind of the best way that I have found, and I don't know about you, Karen, but I just dump it in like so. Always easier
because
said than
now
done.
it's very cottage cheese-like, if you will. And honestly, this yogurt has strained for probably close to 5 or 6 hours, which is probably a little too long.
Okay.
But that's okay, because if you get busy and forget, or you have to be gone during the day, and you can see how thick that is, you can just add a little of that whey right back to it.
So we're just going to stir some back into that.
Absolutely.
We'll just add a little bit at a time.
Exactly.
Because essentially what we have here is the consistency of Greek yogurt, right?
Exactly.
Your nice.
Exactly. You could take this down to a point where it was like sour cream.
Right.
But Greek yogurt is a thicker consistency typically than regular yogurt. Well, when you first bring this out of the incubation, when that whey's all still in there, you can eat it that way. And it's fine. It's nutritional. As we strain the yogurt, the protein molecules, because they're larger, stay within the yogurt. All right. So as you drip out some of the whey, you're dripping out some calories, but you're also kind of creating a yogurt that's more dense when it comes to protein. So Greek yogurt typically is about 2 times higher in protein.
Right, and also when we purchase Greek yogurt at the grocery store, that's why it's more expensive, because we've dripped that whey, that extra step of processing it, if you will.
And I always have people say, you know, what is Greek yogurt? It's not from Greece. I tell them it's actually the Greek part of that term actually means the straining process.
Okay.
So that's how you make Greek yogurt, is to strain it. Now you can see, Alli, you're doing the next step, which is the fun step too. You can do so many flavors with this. And what did you just put in?
I used a little bit of honey, but I noticed you've also got agave nectar here. Any sweetener that you want to use, sugar, brown sugar is fine at this step, kind of whatever your family likes. It's also good at this point to add in maybe just a little bit of flavoring. We've got almond. I like to use vanilla. But this is where you're going to customize your yogurt.
You really can. You can customize it with all these different sweeteners. You can keep it in your refrigerator as plain, because remember
how I
we
do it.
started with plain
Right.
skim milk.
Right.
So you can keep it in your refrigerator just as a plain yogurt that could be used for dips,
Dressings.
savory things,
Right.
dressings.
Yeah.
Exactly. Even in baking, in the place of sour cream.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep it on hand like this, and I typically do like you just did, sweeten it up with a little honey or agave, even like you said,
Cinnamon.
brown sugar, any of those. And then
Not-
that almond flavor, vanilla flavor,
Right.
really good.
Or cinnamon, you can stir that in too. It's a nice thing because the benefits of cinnamon.
Right. Cinnamon is a super antioxidant.
So we want to incorporate
Yes.
that anytime
Yeah.
that we can.
Yeah, I sprinkle
Very
it on
good.
top into anything I eat. So this is a great dish. And again, when you put fruit with that for a morning parfait or something like that, it makes a terrific breakfast.
Thank you so much for joining us here in Chef Alli's Farm Fresh Kitchen. We were so glad to have you today for our homemade
Right,
yogurt segment.
delicious.
Also, watch for us in upcoming issues of Kansas Living, which is Kansas Farm Bureau's membership magazine.
Right.
We're inside and we would love to have you join us.
Right.
Find me on Facebook too for culinary tips, recipes, because I would love to further connect with you. I'm Chef Alli,
And I'm Karen Hansen.
and remember, now you're cooking.